Greetings, greetings, greetings. You are now tuned into the vault. Trust Christian, know not to control everything. Just want to thank you all for tuning in live, listening to replay. Always appreciate everybody that tunes in live, listens in the replay. This is the vault, episode 477, Comingle Trust. And this is definitely one of those episodes. Once again, we only create content based off of what our audience brings to us and the sentiment that we get from the marketplace. So these episodes aren't us just wanting to speak to hear ourselves speak, ladies and gentlemen. We're speaking on subject matters that we hear are going on in the marketplace via questions or via what is that? Just consultations. Sometimes just even seeing market sentiment, what you call a competition. You know, they definitely are talking about this sometimes. So we're gonna talk about it today. Appreciate you for tuning in live, listening to replay. Always appreciate everybody that tunes in live, listens in the replay. This is the Vault, episode 477, Comingle Trust. This was an episode where so many people have come to the vault throughout the years and they say it's their trust. So sometimes they'll have multiple trust. And guess what? Because they have multiple, they own them all. They control them all. We've seen it for years now where people wonder why don't they make it in the trusteeship? Is it because of commingling? Uh Trust. That's what they did. Commingled that. Not necessarily the management. We haven't seen completely a lot of downfall or complete failures in trusteeship from that perspective, from the vault's perspective, and partially because when people come through the vault, they may not know anything, so they don't know how to commingle as a trustee. But when we talk about commingle trust, yes, definitely the case. Definitely the case. So we see it. How do you get around it? This is where asset protection comes from the separation. Somehow, some people keep calling it theirs. Now, people may listen to this message that are trustees and may hear the sentiment of Trust Christian in the Vault saying that it's yours. But we get on the line with them every week. Trustee Training. Oh, they're not on the internet talking loud about it. No, but we're in every trustee training every week. And do we hear it? My this, my that. And we go over this week after week with the public, and you would think that trustees will get in the program and tighten up, a shaping up quickly. Some trustees have the private perspective, but the private perspective is truly inclusive of management. It has to be. It's inclusive of management. That's where the downfall is. Oh, do you got any personal things? Commingling a trust is. We get these people come to the vault all the time and they'll say, "Oh, I'm trying to take my public estate and put it into private." First of all, how are you going to take the government estate? the government, the general welfare estate, and put it into private. How you gonna take the public estate and put it in private? Well, the government created it for who? The indigent? Y'all want to hear these terms? This is what they call them in the private. This is what they call them in the public. They call them an indigent. Indigents get benefits. A trustee doesn't get benefits. We're going to do an episode on how to live on $1 a year. The downfall, once again, commingled trust. It's a simple term. This word trustees might be too simple for the the the, the general pop. Trustees that have gone through the program, commingled trust. Oh man, I had one document, I had this, I had that. You get sloppy. As a senior, you may get sloppy in commingled trust. How you just get sloppy. You allow the bank, you allow people at these financial institutions that make less than 100K a year to make simple mistakes instead of just being very sharp and diligent. And depends on your banker. Sometimes your bankers, you want to deal with sophisticated bankers, but if you're dealing with lower end bankers, you could deal with those things. Commingled trust. This was a episode where we see it all the time, but how are you trying to take your private, your not yours? It's not even yours. This is the mentality that people have. The government created this thing and they're creating hypothecation off it. So what? Does the dollar bills allow you to pay for your house? Or does the dollar bills allow you to pay for a house that you didn't build? Does the dollar bills allow you to pay for a car or whatever? Yes, these are Federal Reserve notes that have exponentially grown consumerism. I mean, these are basic things. Where are we now with the co-mingled trust? Trustee said, "Oh man, he done told us some downsides that we didn't really think about." You got sloppy. Not you, the people that do those things, they get sloppy. You want to put yourself in a position, be in a position. This isn't financial advice or legal advice. We always got to put that in the episode, in the recording. It's in the actual description. So there's no need to give too many disclaimers, but sure, you can have another disclaimer so people can know, oh, wow, well, it wasn't legal or financial advice. No, it's never going to be that. It's a conversation to know what's going on when you're a trustee, and that's this episode's for. The trustees. Commingle. I didn't do that, trust Christian vote. I know I can't do that. But is it yours? When you catch your significant other speaking of it, is it yours? When you speak to your children about it, is it yours? When you speak to trust Christian in the vault, is it yours? You keep saying it like that. Well, just know that the commingle bust down is going to happen very easily. It's called commingle. That's how it goes. Oh man, I was using personal and business. If it's not for the benefit of the entity or the family, what do you expect it's going to be? Personally. Now just think about that. Having the family trained in the whole trustee situation and the children never think about anything personally. These are the families your children are competing against, ladies and gentlemen. Do they stand a chance? And these people know how to go on a land grab. They know how to grab things in a specific position, not in a very haphazard position. They've been trained to acquire assets without commingling. This is where we are. modern day commercial belly with the family. It's not a neither here nor there whether it's right or wrong. What it is the co-mingling is, oh, what do they say? It's my trust. That's what they say. That's what they come on the line and say. And we're telling you this is what they say. And some people may say, oh, well, is it that bad? Well, look, you don't need to worry about trust Christian info. We're trustee training. Not every program is that. Commingle. We tell you that that's something that you might want to stay away from. But oh no no, do they come on the line the next week? Somehow it slipped out. And trust Christian involved. You supposed to be considerate and a nice guy. Well, don't worry, we are. You, you think the alphabet people are? It's important to know the rules, to play by the rules, and immerse yourself in the lifestyle. We're talking to some trustees this past week, and we're really proud of these trustees in particular because they they're doing the weekly work. They're doing the weekly work. It's a weekly job. It's only 52 weeks in a year. They're doing the weekly work. You got to come back with results every week. No thumb sucking. They're coming back with results every week. Bam. What happens when you move? In less than 30 days, you get things done. Oh, wow. We wanted to make sure our family was good. We didn't know how long it was going to take. It took less than 30 days. Whippity wham. Isn't that what they say? Hey, they got it done in less than 30 days. Why? Because they followed the steps. They trusted the process. They did what they were instructed to do. Literally, next thing you know, we're seeing the family moving on. What's interesting is you can have a family squared away very quickly. The very interesting part is not just the shortness of it, but getting them going. The families want to get going because what happens is they have to get immersed in the process of the lifestyle. That's what happens. Definitely appreciate everybody for tuning in live, listening to replay. Always appreciate everybody that tunes in live, listens in the replay. We know that this episode was done at a very interesting time, but that's why we always recommend everybody to hit the subscribe button so you can get the notifications of when we go live for the pop-ups. So we always appreciate everybody that tunes in live, listens in the replay. Uh, see what we got here. Comingle Trust. Did they do that? Well, what happens? Trustees have to learn how to make sure they're good for minutes. Then we had a trustee ask, well, what's the difference between the minutes and the meetings? And we're sitting there and we're like, it's the same thing. So these are the small nuances that trustee training brings to the table. And that's why we've been around for over 5 years on the internet, just doing our thing, enjoying the process, working with families, what? Privately. People say, oh, why is it not this? Why is it maybe not that? When can you do the visual? Well, we done the visual with the securities lawyer. The private securities. What more do you want? Third generation foundation trustee. These are the examples that they're in a sector where they're actually raising capital at times. So it's they're in the public. That's what happens when you're raising capital. You're in the public. That's what happens. But it does not to say that they don't have private capital. They actually have private capital as well. So these are the things that we brought to the forefront of the public market, which is talking about. People say, "Oh man, going private," but they trying to go over there and trying to get social security numbers and stuff like that. They don't even want to stop dealing with the social. Some little lucky pot that's supposed to be dang near bankrupt by 2035 type stuff. This is the propaganda they have in the public. Just like the what? The debt ceiling. They're gonna keep raising it. Oh man, they're not gonna do that. Have they kept doing it? Yeah, they're gonna keep doing it. Oh man, it's gonna be this great crash and the great default. Sure, countries do resets on their money, just like the Fed raises interest rates on the money. They change the rates on the money. They have exchange rates. That's it. It's just an exchange rate. There's no one world currency since that's the case. They have exchange rates, arbitration rates, and these rates supposedly are a little supposedly high because there's fees involved and all this other stuff. This is what they like to say in the public markets. Oh, there's all these fees through the banks and through the central banking, through the SWIFT banking, and all this other stuff. So okay, that's the foundation. You don't leave the foundation, you build on it. So, what do you think is going to happen? The crypto is just going to put their technology in the banks, but it's not going to be, it shouldn't be really outside the banks. It's going to be in the banks, which is okay. I mean, it's we see great advantage, great benefit to that. You all can cite the vault for that early in thought process towards investment thesis, which is definitely that you all can see that the banking system already has blockchain technology already in it, and for that reason, it's no reason why they wouldn't have it moving forward. It's just one of those things where there's these coins and these so-called off exchanges, off market exchanges or new exchanges that are supposed to be feeding the hype, and we just don't see it. Bottom line, we don't see it. It's been more than a tchotchke. It's really sad to see, and no one wants to hear it. Because when you say, "Oh, I see a crypto millionaire," "Oh, I see a crypto millionaire," okay, but we have seen him go from crypto millionaire to crypto working a job. And they were working a job and then they didn't. They went to being a crypto millionaire, whatever they were. So there's a lot to those markets. I mean, we saw Lindsay Lohan the other day facing a lawsuit for that. So how is it that once again all your major stars that have gotten behind these pump and dump schemes, these marketing plays, that's literally what they are, is marketing plays at this point. There's no way that any I mean, I don't we don't want to say Tom Brady, but we could almost say Tom Brady. And that's hard to say cuz that's like saying that's a major name in the sports world that may have gotten behind a coin and or some type of crypto and okay, multiple world champion, Steph Curry. Yes, you can Google it. This is definitely not an exciting time to have these situations happen where people's images or their brands are being, you know, smoted because when you see these technology companies, that's literally what they are. They're taking advantage of something, and they're taking advantage of literally celebrities in their names, athletes in their names, and then they're pumping them. Now, here's another thing. They tried to raise money in the name of the celebrities. That's fair. They did. But it was a pumping dump. What happens when these companies raise billions? Not just hundreds of millions, not just millions, but billions. What happens when you know that? And then you find out that these guys commingle trust. Huh. They damn sure did that. They commingle trust. That's what they did. SVB. Oh, you don't think they did that, huh? They don't think this is the term. This is the insider term. Commingle trust. That's what they did. We have more outflow than inflow. You see how that sounds? That's how you go underflow. They don't have enough flow, cash flow, so they go under. Oh, credit this and this other bank. Oh, okay. They don't. The stock is terrible, man. But at the same time, the market is still very revealing. Interestingly enough, it was very revealing to see those companies in the mismanagement. Looks like a commingle trust. Right. Were they using the properties for personal reasons? Maybe. Well, commingle trust. Did they really do that? We appreciate everybody for tuning in live, listening, to replay. Always appreciate everybody that tunes in live, listening, to replay. This is the episode 400, the Vault, episode 477, Commingle Trust. Definitely wanted to do this episode. Why would you take the private trusteeship and try to tie it to the public estate that was set up by the government? That's set up with the insider view that, remember, even if they do have one, a government trust, right? Fund, right? They may always have someone on the board of trustees for that one because they originated the contract. It came from the gov, not from your private family, right? Right. They may always have someone on the board of that one. That's the difference. We talked to some trustees about this recently, and that's why we really wanted to do this episode. Because this was one of those episodes where, it sounds like a commingle. That's what it sounds like. And that's a tough pill to swallow. Because people say, oh, well, in the private market is doing this and doing that. Look, the marketplace is about you getting yours. That's the way it goes. But you got to do it in the right position. And the people that are in the right position don't think about much. They're relaxed. They're calm. They're cool. They're collected. Calm, cool, collected. They commingle. They're not commingling the trust. So definitely wanted to share that with the listening audience, people that listen to the Vault consistently, and say, hey, my thought process towards moving forward, even as a trustee, is stay focused on asset protection. We got to separate. Make sure we have a separate mentality. Here we go. This is what we thought about the other day. Here's a golden gem for the golden children of the planet. So, some people have challenges solving their own problems. So, one of the mentors trained us that the way we solve our problems, if you have these problems, because some people have that problem, the way that you solve that problem is by thinking of the situation objectively. That means if it's your problem, you think outside of yourself. You step outside of yourself. And you say, if I was looking at myself outside of myself, what would I think about myself? What questions would I ask myself for this decision that I'm about to make? And so, commingle can look worse than that because people don't step outside themselves, so they may do that. But when you step outside yourself, say, oh, how do I solve this problem? How, how do I ask myself questions if I were the enemy? Now you can ask yourself questions because you can be the enemy. You can play roles. Now you have a different perspective. How does the enemy ask questions? What's my posture when I answer these questions? Or are you just going to commingle trust? Talking about my trust. You talking to your family and you wonder why they're not in trusteeship with you. Because you haven't tightened up for generations to come. The Rockefellers and the Wright families moved the right way. What do you want? What are you mad because they laugh? Because they're in the form and they know the substance? Or are people upset because they're not engaged in the form and definitely not using the substance? That's what happens. So how do you get around the Comingle trust? Focus on separation. And people don't want to hear that because the way they word it in the public is, what do you have to hide? So yeah, what do you have to hide? Do you have anything to hide? Oh no, I don't have anything to hide. Then you should be fine. But this is what they say in the public. How am I going to buy a house? How am I going to buy a car? Commingle trust. How am I going to buy a house or a car as a trustee? That's what people ask. Well, now we know why people stay in the public and people don't make it in the private. Because they commingle trust. They may be trying to buy a personal vehicle or a car. Appreciate everybody for tuning in live, listening to replay. Always appreciate everybody tuning in live, listening to replay. Feel free to reach out, Christian at trustchristian.com. Once again, that's Christian at trustchristian.com. We know we did this one at a wild time, but we always appreciate everybody that tunes in live, listens in the replay. Uh, just appreciate it. So, feel free to reach out, Christian at trustchristian.com. Peace and joy.